What's up, Black Sheep, and welcome back to your Sunday service. Today's video is so exciting. I'm doing my first pick a card reading on this channel, and we're going to talk about which generational cycles you are currently in the middle of breaking. So I know this was Thanksgiving week if you're in the US. Whether or not you celebrate Thanksgiving, this is still a time for a lot of Black Sheep where we're dealing with aggression from our family, passive aggressive stuff, just dealing with being iced out or feeling left out or feeling lonely, even if we're making the best decision for ourselves to stay away. So whatever your holidays look like, I just hope that you had a good holiday season. I hope that you are able to kind of make it through without feeling too frustrated with your family or with your situation. I know how hard it can be. So, you're not alone in what you're going through, and I just wanted to remind you of that and remind you that it is okay if it felt terrible. It is okay if you were alone and you loved it. Whatever your situation was, it doesn't have to be justified to anyone. And I'm proud of you for whatever you ended up doing. If you went back home and you hated it and you're coming back upset, I'm still proud of you for showing up and for making it through and for trying to heal after. So that's actually why I wanted to make this pick a card reading in particular. We are going to be talking about which generational cycles you are currently breaking. And I want us to be able to kind of come back to this video, as I always want with this Black Sheep content, to kind of refuel, to recenter, to reground, to remember that no matter what kind of emotional whirlwind you've been in for the last week or for however long, that there's always time for you to regroup. There's always time for you to come back home to yourself. It is never too late to come back home to yourself. And I also hope that this video reminds you that you can be easy on yourself. Like, we are so hard on ourselves as Black Sheep, and I just want you to know that we don't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. Just because you're on a healing journey doesn't mean that you have to be put under pressure 24/7. So this is to validate you and to remind you that you are doing so much, even when it doesn't feel like it. And so to just give yourself a moment to breathe, to recover, to take care of yourself, and to be proud of yourself. So that is the intent for today's video. Let's go ahead and get into the pick a card options. So I have group 1 here, group 2, and group 3. I shuffled for animal medicine for each of these 3 groups, and I haven't looked and seen what the animal medicine is yet, so we're going to turn these over. As I turn these over, I'm going to give you a second to look over everything, and based on the animal or the number or any other signifiers that stick out to you the most, that will be the group that you can pick. So group number 1, we have this snake, and I'm not reading these in reversal. They're just oracle cards, so we're going to go with the upright version. But this says, snake, Kundalini rising, channel your creative passion and sensuality. Welcome the transformation. All right, for group 1, we have snake. For group 2, we have frog. Stepping into your power. Don't take a back seat in your story. It is time to step up. I don't think I've ever seen frog before in this deck come out. So this is really powerful, but stepping into your power, I love that. And that is so much of what we talk about here. So group 2 is going to be frog. And finally, group 3, we have owl. Sight. Detach your emotions from situations that you cannot control. So these are our 3 groups for our pick a card reading today. Again, to get a closer look, here we have snake, frog, and owl. And if you're not sure, just take a moment to breathe. Feel free to pause the video here and ask your spirit guides, ask your intuition, ask your higher self the message that you need to hear today. And go ahead and find the timestamps in the video comments below to pick the reading that resonates with you. Okay, group number 1, I started recording your reading and then it didn't save. So okay, we're going to start over. I already have some cards pulled, but we're just going to get into it and hopefully we can keep this message really clear. So again, you had this snake card as your animal medicine to channel your creative passion and sensuality and to welcome the transformation. So we already know that you're in the midst of a transformation, right? But I made a quick spread so we can keep each reading really kind of clear and concise around what generational cycle cycle you are breaking. When I asked that for you, since I already started recording this reading and lost it, I have a few cards in front of me. So I have the Seven of Swords starting strong. I also have the Justice card. And then my last two cards are the Magician and the Death card. Okay, I'm going to start at a different place than I started last time, and that's actually with this Death card. I'm actually hearing that maybe you made the final decision to cut someone off or to stop speaking with someone, and that was really, really helpful for you already. So that could be extra confirmation. This was somewhat of like a recent, even up until like the last year kind of decision that you are still kind of, you've made the decision, but you're working through like the other side of it, right? What it means to not be speaking with someone. So that's a confirmation for someone out there. But I also have with the Seven of Swords and with the Justice card, I was getting a lot of ideas about like speaking behind someone's back, a lot of like passive aggressive behavior with the Magician as well. Like these four cards are describing what the generational cycle is. So looking at everything from that context, I'm also hearing like with the Magician, it almost feels like there was someone who has this kind of manipulative energy. And I also was hearing narcissistic fleas. So it feels like there was someone who would constantly twist your words or twist things that you would say and do to make you look worse and to make them look better. I'm also getting a lot of scapegoat energy from this generational cycle. So it feels like a lot of people in your life. I was also hearing the word triangulation as soon as I pulled the Seven of Swords. So what I was seeing was like someone who will pit you and your siblings against one another, someone who will pit you and your friends against one another, someone who is constantly filling your mind with comparison, comparing you to your friends, to people around you, comparing your body to someone else. And then all of this energy being done in a way that was so manipulative. It feels like there was just a lot of like, I'm not going to be direct, but I'm going to make you feel like garbage all the time. But I'm not going to say something that this is actually so random. I was in the other room setting up to do this tarot reading, and there was like my TV was playing YouTube videos in the living room. No one was there watching them, but this video came on about like someone reacting to an episode of Gilmore Girls, and it was the episode where Emily like re-meets Luke when Luke and Lorelai start dating. And sorry for spoiling a 20-year-old show if I just did that for you. But basically Emily was, saying all these things to Luke, and he was like, nothing she said was actually rude, but everything she said made me feel awful. Like I feel horrible about myself and about everything that I have, but she didn't say anything directly mean. It's almost like that kind of energy. For some of you, this could just be someone who was outright mean and had a very sharp tongue is the energy that I'm getting. So that's a little bit of the generational cycle itself, but I'm also asking how you're breaking it and then why you're breaking it in the other parts of this reading. And then we're going to get into a couple of affirmation cards. So as we get into how you're breaking it and why, that'll actually continue to shed more light on the generational cycle itself. So when I asked how you're breaking it, I got the Three of Cups. I got the Three of Wands. And then I also got the Five of Wands. So this is very interesting, but what immediately jumped into my mind with the Three of Cups was chosen family, right? Like you are breaking this cycle through creating a community of actually healthy, supportive relationships, creating a community of healthy communication, having that air about you, right? And that is something that feels so good, and that maybe you already have done it. Maybe confirmation burp, maybe you're still in the process of kind of that unfolding, or maybe you haven't even met this community yet, but one of your life goals is to have a community of friends and people around you who genuinely love and care for you. So if you haven't created this yet, but it's like a life goal for you, know that this is something that is coming in. Know that this is going to happen for you, and to continue like planting those seeds, right? Keep going out, keep meeting people, keep hyping yourself up, keep feeling confident about what you're doing, and keep your eye on the prize of having a community of people who are actually healthy and people who actually do love and care for you, because that is very possible for you here. The other thing that I'm seeing with this Three of Wands is that you are partially breaking it by travel or by moving out. That was the first thing that popped into my mind with this card. This card can often mean expansion, but for me, with their back turned to us and them looking out at kind of this empty land in front of them, it really feels like you have set off on a new journey. Maybe you've already moved away from your hometown. Maybe this is something that you're considering doing or saving up to do, and like that is 100% the right decision for you, because it's giving you this blank slate to start over, where you are not constantly reminded of all the bad things, and where also you are somewhere new where people actually believe you, right? When we're in this generational cycle energy of, you know, the gossip, the talking behind people's backs, the rumors, it makes you so paranoid, because you could go into any room and not know what they already know or think about you. And your biggest op will literally be your parent, right? So you can't go into any room with your own family, with your own friends. You can't leave your friends in the kitchen alone when your parents are there while you go to your room or while you go to the bathroom, because you literally don't know the kind of damage that can be done. And so when you are coming from that place of paranoia and hypervigilance and just straight up fear, it's so hard even to meet new people, not knowing either what they could already know or what they could find out or what they've heard. Like, all of those things can genuinely plague you, right? With this Three of Wands, having this opportunity to completely start over is something that is going to help you so much. And with this Five of Wands, this was actually the one that excited me the most, because while it does look like a fight, it actually is showing me that you are ready for upfront confrontation, and that is actually how you are going to break this cycle. When you come from this idea, like this cycle of not speaking to someone, but just speaking behind their back constantly, not ever telling anyone the truth, but just making them like seem like a fool because you're listening to them, you're taking in all their secrets and then just talking about them. You're not giving them any helpful advice. You're just like shitting on them later, basically. That is the energy that you are actually dissolving by having confrontations. And the thing is, so many people in their healing journey think like, I just need to never be mad again. I just need to never be upset again. Like, that's not true, right? Like, we live in life. We are going to be upset. We're going to be hurt. Even if we have our dream partner, you're going to be in a fight with them. You could have your dream child, whatever that even means, and still fight with them. Like, it's just a part of life. But instead of you being that person who's going to go and talk to all of your friends about your relationship, or talk to your friends about each other, or whatever it is that, you know, you're used to seeing, you are actually going to have the courage to speak with someone about the issues that you are having with them up front. And that is going to be such helpful and beneficial energy for you, because it's actually how you work on and heal relationships, right? If you are manifesting your chosen family and all these people in your life that love and care for you, you are going to have to be willing to be honest with them about things that they do that hurt you. But at the end of the day, those are little micro cuts that end up allowing the relationship to grow stronger, right? It's like a little bit of friction that actually brings you together. And that is not what you saw. You didn't see any healthy conflict resolution growing up. So it is a big leap for you to take that route and to try it out. And there can be a lot of mistakes made when you're trying something like this out, but it is going to be so worth it. And it is ultimately what is going to draw your community in even closer. Okay, so the last couple of cards are going to be on why you are breaking this cycle. The first one is the Knight of Swords, which is interesting. Let's see what else we get. Oh, whoa, I just got the King of Wands. Okay, I think I know where this is going. Any final cards here, Spirit? Got the King of Wands here and the Knight of Swords. So when I said I think I see where this is going, this King of Wands immediately reminded me of this snake and this Kundalini rising energy, right? When we think of a king in the tarot, we think of someone who has mastered this element, someone who has mastered this energy. And with the wands being creative energy, passionate energy, even this, right? These are wands, and this is the confrontation card. In this spread at least. So with the King of Wands, this is telling me that you are mastering your fire overall. Okay, and the King of Cups was the last card. Hang on. Okay, I genuinely love this because we also have the King of Cups here. So not only are you learning to master your emotions, which makes you a better communicator, you are learning how to be in touch with yourself in a better way. Also, because of like the possibility of you moving away is allowing you to be in a place where your nervous system is more regulated more often, right? When you live in a household where like that trauma and that pain is occurring every single day, you don't get a chance to breathe. You don't get a chance to really calm down and kind of be in your own energy. And that can be so difficult, especially for Black sheep. So giving yourself this ability to kind of remove yourself has not only allowed things to kind of calm down around you, but eventually you are going to be this person who has mastered kind of their emotional landscape and is able to know when something is frustrating them and to know when that's happening before it gets really bad. So you are the kind of person that can communicate before things really hit the fan. And that's what also allows these points of communication to come in these tiny little conversations rather than these big blowout fights. Okay. But with the King of Wands as well, you are learning, I'm hearing anger management. So with the wands representing fire, this passionate, fiery energy, you are also learning how to kind of master that and how to use it for your own benefit. But with this snake card at the very beginning, it also mentioned to channeling your creative passion and your sensuality, right? And having this strong, stable emotional grounding, having this creative passion and pursuit and this creative power about you is what is going to help you feel like you are in a balance that actually serves you and that you are using all of this energy and all of this stuff that you have not to destroy but to create. And then the last card that we had was the Knight of Swords. It feels like you're also doing this to have a clearer head. When you are in this place where people are always gossiping or talking about yourself or other people, you hearing your parents gossip about other people can be just as damaging as knowing that they're gossiping about you. That constant energy of gossip clouds your mind and it clouds your perception of yourself, right? You're never looking into a clear mirror. You're looking into smoke and mirrors. And you are breaking this cycle so that you can be more clear-headed, so that you can, I'm literally seeing like, I'm actually hearing less polluted brain. I was seeing like pollution or like a train pollution coming out of a brain, and that's what it has felt like for so long. It's like you're getting so much muddy and cloudy information, and like I just said, it can be just as damaging to hear your parents talk about someone else than yourself. That's a lot of what was clouding you as well, because when you hear your parents gossip, it could be about someone else's body, it could be about someone else's finances, it could be about someone else's marriage or whatever all these things are. Even if you are just around that, especially as a child, you are absorbing it and you are giving yourself all of these things to feel ashamed about. And without that constant gossip and that constant shaming, you wouldn't feel so cloudy, right? So by you separating yourself, by you creating a healthy atmosphere and community around you, you are actually releasing and offloading all of this cloudiness and all of this tension to create a more clear image of your values, of your beliefs, and of your identity. Okay, I really hope that this reading has been resonating with you so far. If you would like a private reading, I am offering 50% off all of my private readings until December 10th with the code residency. That is to earn the funds I need to be able to attend my writer's residency in France. So I hope that you take advantage of that sale while it is still active. And I'm going to pull a couple of affirmation cards for you as our very last card pull for this pick a card reading. What does group 1 need to know? This is it. Okay, we have one here. I am capable of more than I realize. Okay. Yeah, so if you're feeling daunted by this, or even if you're feeling daunted by the whole no contact or low contact situation, just remember that you are capable of creating the change. You are capable of breaking the cycle. And the thing is, while breaking a cycle sounds like a huge task, it is done in little bits and pieces over time. So know that you can create this in bite-sized pieces. And like I said in the intro, you are doing so much more than you think that you are doing. Even if you feel like you are not doing enough, you absolutely are when it comes to breaking generational cycles. So confirmation burp. Be gracious with yourself and give yourself a lot of grace at this time. And the last affirmation is, even when I'm struggling, there is undeniable magic that exists within me. How cute. So there is magic within you. You are capable of more than you realize. And with the snake, this is the last month of the year of the snake coming up. If you are feeling still like you're tied up in a lot of these things, ask the energy of the snake, ask the energy of 2025 to help you finally shed these things that you are so ready to let go of, and name those things, right? Maybe you want to write a letter and burn it. Maybe you want to just get your thoughts out in a bullet point list and burn that, or rip it up, or get rid of it, or do something symbolic to remind yourself that you are finally letting go of this energy once and for all. So I am so proud of you. Again, don't forget that I have my 50% off sale with code residency for any live one-on-one tarot readings. And with that being said, I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye. Group 2, welcome to your pick a card reading on which generational cycle you are currently breaking. We had the frog here. So again, it says, stepping into your power. Don't take a backseat in your story. It is time to step up. And I love that energy and love this card. So I'm doing a quick tarot spread here to keep this reading really clear and concise about which generational cycles you are breaking. The first few cards are going to be describing that cycle. So let's see what's coming up for you here. Spirit, can you tell me which cycle group 2 is breaking? Ooh, 10 of Pentacles. Okay. Maybe a cycle around money or abundance. Okay. I haven't flipped that card over yet, so I haven't seen what it is. Spirit, is there any more information on which generational cycle this group is breaking? Okay. Got a second card here. All right, so we had the 10 of Pentacles like I showed you. We have the Magician. Again, this is so interesting. That came out for group 1. And then we have the 6 of Cups. Okay, I actually got one final card, which was the 4 of Cups, and this is bringing a lot of clarity to the situation. It feels like no matter how much money you make, it is not enough. It feels like this is the generational cycle of waiting, of just waiting for things to be better, waiting for one day to do something, waiting for when the time is right to start something. And you may have had a family that was really plagued with just this feeling of downplaying everything that they have. Maybe you grew up around people who were just not ever really grateful or never satisfied. It feels like a lot of that kind of energy. I'm just hearing more. That's what I heard when I looked at the Magician, and I just got drawn to the wand in his hand, and like I'm hearing more. So it feels like maybe there was a lot of I'm wondering if there was a lot of debt maybe in your family, or maybe even some sort of like gambling. If that's not the case, then maybe just like, you may not be from a financially well-off family, but you could be. This could even be someone who grew up low income, but there was like just like this constant need for I'm hearing to show off. So maybe For those of you who didn't grow up with a lot of money, there was so much more put into how things looked rather than how they actually were. And so, almost like a fear of honesty or a fear of just being upfront with what it is that you had. And because that couldn't be accepted, you constantly felt like you were on this hamster wheel of chasing something, chasing something. And it's hard for you to pause and wait and actually find satisfaction in the meantime. Maybe for a lot of you, you are constantly working and you can't ever just like stop to enjoy what you have because you have FOMO, like fear of missing out. But it's not just fear of missing out in a social situation. It's what if I miss that, dollar I would have made? What if I miss, this opportunity? What if I miss this connection? And it's constantly wondering, what if you miss something and basing all of your decisions around that. And that's what's really keeping you stuck because you're not able to create or make decisions from the heart. You find yourself really making decisions from a place of fear. You're constantly afraid and looking for something to go wrong. You're looking for the next thing. It's always on to the next thing. You may have a really hard time celebrating yourself as well. Okay, so now we're shuffling on how you're going to break this cycle. Spirit, how is collective 2, how is group number 2 going to break this cycle? Okay. Are there any final cards here, Spirit? I think this is it. Got one more. Okay, the Knight of Wands. Okay. Interesting. So I got the 2 of Pentacles. This card can really be a lot about play, right? How are you bringing play into your life and how can you take things less seriously? And I actually just put this 2 of Pentacles under this card. And so, it was kind of like this. And what's interesting is that I got this sensation of like, the person on the bottom might have fewer pentacles, but they are more satisfied and they are happier. So something around this energy of, I'm not saying that you should have less money or that you should want less money or that you don't deserve to make money. This isn't about money. This is about the feeling of satisfaction and the feeling of taking time off to just rest or to enjoy yourself or seeing the benefit in the slow days, seeing the benefit in the downtime. There's a lot of that energy coming up here of like, let's slow down. Let's ease things up and let's figure out how we can put more play into the situation. Okay, this may also split off into like subgroups because there's one group that I know. Oh wait, I can't show the star card. I always forget. But the star is here with the Knight of Wands. For a very specific collective of you, you may also be creators or entrepreneurs. And it feels like your purpose in creating is going to be a big reason of a big stepping stone in how you are breaking this cycle. It feels like you are really able to kind of hone into your purpose. And it's not even that your creative work is necessarily tied to this generational cycle like directly, but what I'm getting is the more that you focus on your creative work, the more that this cycle naturally breaks because you can't work on your creative passion in isolation. You may do some things alone, but at a certain point in your journey, as you grow and evolve and become more successful, other people will need to be involved. And because other people need to be involved, and because you have to learn how to pace yourself in business, those things are actually going to push against this idea of never having enough. And you are going to have to determine what that feeling of satisfaction feels like. What is actually a priority to you, right? Because if you lose your relationship and you lose your home and you lose, the people around you and everything that you care about, like that you genuinely care about, but you have a business, like it's not the same. It's not going to equal itself out. So there's something here about these certain things happening along your journey that are reminding you that there can be stopping points that are healthy. There can be a sense of satisfaction that is necessary and that is healthy. So again, like I said, that's kind of for a subgroup. And then the last card I got here is the Eight of Wands. So what I'm hearing for everyone else that didn't particularly resonate with, that last bit, is that you are breaking this by allowing yourself to be seen is something else that's coming up. You are allowing yourself to be seen. You are allowing yourself to be visible. I'm hearing like live TV, like the difference between something that is live and something that is pre-recorded. You are letting yourself be seen live. And why that's coming up is it's this metaphor, I guess, of allowing yourself to be seen making mistakes, allowing yourself to be seen as a flawed person, but knowing that that is still enough for you to get to where you want to go, right? And this is really kind of like, I know that you are my entrepreneurs, my creatives, like you are here and you are getting to this next level in your creative journey because you are understanding on a professional level what good enough means. Good enough to go live, good enough to be seen, good enough to be put out there, good enough to put this out there so that you can start working on the next thing that overall is going to create a body of work. Something about that feels so relevant. And like I told you, I always try and like not focus on career readings or creative readings, but it always comes back to that in some way, shape, or form, which is why I said I know my entrepreneurs are in this group. But let's keep shuffling because I'm asking now why you are breaking this generational cycle. Why is it that you are breaking this feeling of never feeling like you have enough? Okay, Five of Wands, interesting. Okay, you're learning to fight for yourself. You're learning to stand up for yourself. It's almost like standing up for yourself and your work almost go hand in hand. And I'm also hearing the idea of pitching, right? It's like you had to fight for your idea. You had to fight for yourself. And somehow that feels like a direct response because you have to affirm that it is enough. You have to affirm that your idea is enough, that your business plan is enough, that you are enough, that you are the right person to be bringing this to the world, whether it's a product or art or an idea. You are the right person to be doing this. I got this Seven of Swords. Spirit, can you clarify what that means? Okay. So what's kind of stumping me right now is I got the Seven of Swords and I'm not sure exactly what that's telling me. So I'm going to leave that there, but we'll get to that. I did also get the Six of Swords. And then I got the Eight of Pentacles, and this did come out upright as well. So what I'm seeing here is that you are meant to work hard. You are also meant to be on this creative path or to create something on your own because you are meant to work hard and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Like it's not about just the part of enjoying things. It's not about just the money for you. On this journey, you are learning that A, there are things that are more important than money, and B, that you deserve to work for what you have. And by you working for what you have, it again calls into this question of what is enough, right? Will you ever have enough so that you can stop working one day? Will you ever have enough so that money is not your only priority? Like these are the questions that you naturally have to move through life and walk through life to answer. They come up through, these questions get asked through experiences and they get answered through other experiences. Okay, so I paused recording to think about this Seven of Swords a little bit because it was throwing me off. And as I paused, I was like, oh my God, I'm totally screwing up this reading. Like, what am I doing? I'm not even like grounded. Like this reading was just really bad. And then I started to realize like, confirmation burp. But I started to realize it was the voice of self-doubt. And then I started to like this card was next to this card, right? So it almost looks like he is looking at the person who's working really hard. And then I started to hear comparison. So self-doubt and comparison, those might be two things that really have plagued you on your life journey. Maybe you constantly have the thoughts. You could also be a Gemini, or just an air sign that's like really in their thoughts. But You are someone who has been in your head for so much of your journey, and you are constantly doubting yourself. You're constantly comparing yourself. And that's what the feeling of like not enoughness does to you, right? And not just not enough in terms of self-worth, but again, the physical generational cycle of your family never being satisfied, they're never being enough, they're never having enough. It means that they're always looking at someone else and comparing themselves to that other family and what things look like on the outside for them and all of those things. So in that sense, there was always this sense of comparison that really got embedded into your being. And you began, especially on your creative journey as well, comparing yourself to other people's creative path, or comparing yourself to how other people present themselves, right? Something about other people's journeys, other people's presentations, like you got really caught up in comparison. And then with the self-doubt as well, like those two things on their own can be tied hand in hand, where you are comparing yourself and then doubting yourself because of what you see in someone else, while you are overlooking your own strengths, while you are overlooking your own uniqueness. And those are the things that make you special. And that's what you've constantly overlooked your entire life, because you're constantly measuring and comparing and looking at everyone else around you. But your unique strength, Black Sheep, is not something that you are going to find around you. It is literally unique. It is different because you are different. And that is how you know you're in your purpose. That is how you know that you are exactly where you need to be. So that is why you are breaking this generational cycle. It's to release the self-doubt. It's to release the comparison. It's to remember that you are going to have the fruits of your own labor, and that you are someone that has to set out on a new path and do things differently. But again, that's what you're here supposed to do. So if you are doing that, even if it feels isolating or lonely sometimes, know that you are on your right path and that you should continue trusting it. So the final part of this spread are going to be 2 affirmations cards. The first one says, "Magic always reveals itself when I'm willing to see it." And the rainbow there as well. So that could be significant for someone. But yeah, with the frog, initially it says, "Stepping into your power, don't take a backseat in your story." So the more that you continue to train your mind to see the magic in yourself and to see the magic around you, the more that you are willing to also step into your power. You have to change your mind to start looking for the positive in things, not to overlook the negative, but to also be just as aware. Because for most people in this kind of energy, you are only looking at the negative. You are only looking at what you don't have, at what isn't enough, instead of simultaneously also being grateful for what you do have, right? So training your brain to see the magic around you is going to be really helpful. And then, sorry, all these cards almost just fell. And then I forgive myself is the final card. So yeah, forgiving yourself for all the negative thoughts that you've had, forgiving yourself for all the times that you have compared yourself, just offering yourself forgiveness as a whole for all the times that you didn't see yourself as enough, all the self-doubt you put yourself through. So that's it for your reading today. I hope that it resonated for you. I am still offering 50% off one-on-one virtual tarot readings. So that is going to be using the code residency on my website for a half-hour or full-hour private reading with me. I hope that you take advantage of that deal from now until December 10th. And remember that you're worthy whether you believe it or not. Love you. Okay, group number 3. So I'm going to be shuffling to understand which generational cycle you are breaking. So Spirit, can you describe the generational cycle that group 3 is currently breaking? Okay. This is so interesting. Okay, Spirit, is there any more information? Okay. The cards that I got for you to describe your generational cycle are the King of Cups, the 5 of Cups, the Magician, which is really interesting because this has come out in every single group's reading, and then the 5 of Wands. So what I'm seeing here, especially because this is all within the context of a generational cycle you are breaking, I was hearing wishing not working, especially with these two cards. This kind of dreamer energy came out, but not dreamer in a positive way. It was more like the people that you were constantly around were always they were just wishing but never working. It was the kind of people who would always want something but never be able to put the pieces together to actually make it happen. These people who would say, oh, one day I'll have this one, but then it turned into just false promises. It turned into them not being trustworthy because they could never follow through. And I feel like that also caused a lot of chaos and a lot of fighting. Again, I just keep hearing broken promises, false promises. Like it feels like maybe you even like the idea of like a deadbeat dad is like kind of what I'm hearing, or this energy that I'm getting. So even if this isn't your exact situation, it might kind of resonate as an example. But the idea of like a deadbeat dad who keeps saying that they're going to come and visit, they're going to come and visit, they're going to come and visit, and they make all these plans and they tell you all these cool things that they're going to do, and all of a sudden they have this money that they want to spend on you. But then like those days roll around and like no one's to be seen. It's just you being left with the false promises, with the broken promises, having to pick up the pieces of everything that fell apart. And it's almost like that caused so much chaos within you. I'm also hearing self-hatred. And that's always really hard to hear, but I feel like every black sheep has experienced that on their journey. And that's why it's so important that we talk about our journeys, and why I'm so committed to this work, because self-hatred is not cool. And when it starts in childhood, it's so hard to grow out of. And to, I feel like the need to even like protect and hold my chest right now, because this is just really heavy energy, and I've been there myself, and it takes so much work and effort to pull yourself out of it. I also feel like, especially with the magician here, when the magician is not in its right integrity, we get a lot of manipulative energy. So again, that feeling of the false promise, the false just these broken dreams, right? These unfulfilled wishes, all of that energy. It feels like it was also coming from someone who was very good at getting you to believe them, or very good with you when you were a kid. Like the fun parent who then doesn't have boundaries and then doesn't show up for you and is completely gone when things get hard, right? And so that's why you're left fighting to pick up the pieces. And that feels really just painful and difficult. So that's a little bit to describe the cycle that you're breaking, but we're going to keep shuffling to find how you are breaking this cycle. Spirit, how is this group breaking this cycle? Okay, you are actually putting the work in. You are actually putting the work in, and this work feels tedious. It feels detail oriented, even when you don't always want to be, but you are so sick of just the false promises. I keep hearing that. I keep wanting to say that. You are so sick of things not being realized. And you are like, I don't care how small the promises that I am making. I don't care how small it is that what I create or what I've worked for, I am making it happen. And for you, the emphasis is so much more on making it happen. It's kind of the idea of like, I'm getting someone shop for their own kids at the Dollar Tree or something, right? It's like that kid wants a birthday party, and maybe you don't have it like that. Maybe you don't have all the funds to create everything that they want, but you are going to put the pieces together to make something happen for the person that you care about. That's the kind of energy that's coming up here. I also got the Hanged Man, and with this Hanged Man here, this is also telling me that like you are learning how to have intentional rest. That's the phrasing that's coming up for me right now. But what it kind of is like with this generational cycle of like, I'm going to wish for the entire world, but I'm not going to work for anything. It's almost like you have or are in the process of mastering this energy where you can just let go, mastering this energy where you can just surrender. If you don't think you can do it, you're not going to say that you can. You're not going to give the false promise. You are just not. And if that means that you just have to say no, or you have to be honest with someone and just be real about your limitations, you are willing to do that. You are able to do that. It also means that you are okay not having all the answers, and you would rather tell someone that you don't know the answer than to, again, be wrong about it, but act like you know it. Something about that feels really significant with just like communication, it needing to be honest, it needing to be very specific. Yeah, and then the last two cards I got here, the Page of Cup and Five of Swords. These are kind of interesting cards, so I'm going to sit with them for a second and get back to you. Okay, I sat with the cards for a little bit and I have the message. So what I'm getting here is with the Page of Cups, I'm definitely getting this idea of a healing journey, right? This can be your subconscious thoughts, becoming aware of them, becoming cognizant of them, and learning to kind of heal them or work through them. But with this Five of Swords, I was hearing parts of yourself. So it feels like you are healing and also cutting off parts of yourself that no longer resonate. And obviously, like, I love parts work. It's something that I love, and I'm always kind of trying to draw myself back to, because it's never all of us that feels a certain way. It's a part of us, right? So understanding what that part needs, even if we're like involving ourselves in bad habits or in things that we want to stop doing, it's satisfying a part of us. So what does that part need? Something around that is coming up. So you could have been in therapy, you could have done parts work yourself. I'm hearing EMDR, that could be significant for someone. But what I'm seeing here is that you are willing to restructure I just saw 111 as well, but you are willing to restructure the parts of yourself that no longer serve you. And that is how you are breaking this generational cycle. You are actually getting very in the weeds with your healing because of how frustrating this generational cycle has been for you. And by you putting in the work, by you showing up, by you understanding when to surrender, and by you understanding and like getting into the depths of your healing journey, and understanding the parts of yourself that have been triggered by this kind of generational cycle, that is bringing you into your right power. And what is so interesting is I just looked at the owl again. It says, detach your emotions from situations that you cannot control. That is exactly what I'm getting here. Because the Page of Cups, the cups represent emotions, right? And with this Five of Swords, this is a very detached kind of outlook on things. So in the Five of Swords, it can often be too detached. But with these cards coming out together, I'm kind of seeing that like you literally are in the process of taking a bird's eye view at some of the situations in your life and not being so emotionally invested in every little thing that goes wrong. And through that detachment, you are able to separate, okay, this is my inner child that wants to have a tantrum, but I am not my inner child, or that is not the entire part of me. So I can understand that they don't need to take the lead on this, and that maybe I need to communicate something bigger in a healthier way, right? Things like that, where you are making a conscious choice not to allow this like immature energy to run your life. I feel like that immaturity is such a big piece of it. The final cards that I am pulling are on why you are breaking this cycle. Okay, why you are breaking this cycle. Okay, whoa, not me talking about the inner child just now and getting the Six of Cups. I also got the Three of Swords. So again, a broken heart. Like this really messed you up. These false promises, this waiting around for someone, this wishing but not having put you out of your power. Wishing but not having, wishing but never getting, wishing but never working. That completely took you out of any sort of power that you had in your life, because you watched everyone around you want things that they couldn't have, or say things that they were never going to become. This mismatched energy really broke your heart, and it really put you out of your power. And that is exactly what's coming up here, is like this Knight of Cups energy is you becoming confident again in your emotions, confident enough to put your heart out there. So I feel like you're also breaking this cycle so that you can have healthier relationships in your life. Some of you may be on like a love relationship journey looking for your partner. Maybe you have a partner, but you're actively working on like your relationship wounds with that person. So that feels really significant as well. It's like you are working on this to have a healthier heart, to have healthier offerings for another person. And for the people around you, you want to be that dependable person. You are breaking this cycle so that you can be that person that other people depend on, because that's what you've always wanted, and that's what you've always wanted to be. And that is what you are becoming. Okay, so the final bit that we're going to get into here are these affirmation reminders. So I'm going to pull 2 affirmation cards for you for the last message that you need to hear. Okay. Oh, we got 2 right here. I am unlearning and letting go of harmful thinking patterns 1000%. And actually, while that card's coming out, remember that you can get half off of any of my coaching sessions or tarot readings with the code residency from now until December 10th. So the time is running out for this incredible sale to be out. But if you really are in the middle of your healing journey and you want to work with someone that understands what it's like as a black sheep, someone that you don't have to explain your entire childhood over again to, someone that is ready to get you to your next level, that is healed through a lot of the same generational cycles that you are healing through, I am the person to work with. So like I said, this applies to coaching and one-on-one private readings, but that is code residency for half off, which I've never offered before. So while that card is out, I needed to remember to say that. And then the final card here, I forgive myself, which actually came out for a different group as well. Forgiving yourself. And this to me looks like this person is waiting, this little froggy guy. And so, even forgiving yourself for disappointment, right? That's what's coming through really strongly here is forgiving yourself for any time that you've been disappointed, any time that you've disappointed someone else. You are able to let go of those things and you are able to start fresh. So thank you so much for joining me for this reading. I hope that you enjoyed this new pick a card format, and remember that you are worthy whether you believe it or not.